Well, hello everyone. It's your girl Gabrielle from A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We are here again. We have another edition of Sponsor Spotlight. And today I'm going to highlight one of my sponsors. The company is College4U. And I have the owner and CEO, director, not sure what she.
Yeah, you can say that.
I have the owner with me who is going to talk about her company and what it's all about. And this is an opportunity for her to highlight her business. And I am highlighting my sponsors on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to interview her today, and her name is Tami Williams. And she has a commercial that I'm going to play for you at the end. So, Tami, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you for hosting these interviews. They're really awesome. I love what you're doing. Thanks for the shout out.
No problem.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, so let's get started. So if you can just jump right into it, tell us what your company is about, your mission, your goals, your dreams, hopes and dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started College4U back in, I officially launched it January of 2020. So I had absolutely zero experience in business. I just kind of had a vision and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it and I'll figure it out along the way. But just a little bit of background. So College4U was created, it was based on my personal experience, being a first generation college student, being the first in my family to graduate with a bachelor's degree. I wanted to kind of help eliminate some of those barriers that first generation students face. So, things like financial aid, understanding the loan process, understanding picking a major, just overall helping with that transition. And then also, there were so many things I didn't know when I first decided to go to school while I was in school, and I didn't come to learn some things until afterwards. For example, just like how important like trade school was, or how some degrees you could get certificates in and just you would make the same amount of money for. So all of those things, I was like, wow, how can I like get this information out to other students so that they wouldn't, make the same mistakes that I made, and so they could feel a little bit more prepared, because being a first generation college student, college can be very intimidating. It can seem like it's, you're kind of going in blindsided. You don't really know what to expect. And so I was kind of thinking, like, how can I really like get this information out? And then it clicked. I was like, it would be so cool to put this on an app. And so I had created an app. I worked with a company and created an app where like all of those resources were in this app. So there was information about financial aid, academic advising, even things that we don't think about, like college terminology. I have met so many students who don't know like the difference between an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, or they don't know what a subsidized loan is versus an unsubsidized loan is. So many things like that, so many barriers. And so there was like a terminology section in the app as well. And then after that, after creating the app, I was like, okay, now what do I do? Because again, I'm new in business, don't really know what I'm doing. But, you kind of just, sometimes that's the best way to go about it, is just to get started and you kind of learn along the way. And so created an app, and then a few months after that, I created the College4U Online Learning Center, which was kind of like an extended platform that would just have more resources. And so as I was trying to narrow down what I specifically wanted to do, which was like create a resource network to a degree. So I wanted College4U to be like a third-party platform to bring all these different resources and make them accessible for underrepresented students. So yeah, I ended up creating the College4U Online Learning Center, and then started getting more involved with the community, and started establishing more like workshops. Ended up meeting some amazing entrepreneurs such as yourself, and having, hosting different events that relate to education and relate to our core principles, which is financial literacy, leadership, trades, and education. And so, I'm sorry, technology. And so, yeah, so that was kind of how College4U got started. And right now we are just focusing on workshops and events to, continue to promote these different resources and help, eliminate some of these barriers that are especially in low-income communities. And so that's kind of how I got started. I think what I want to do long-term is kind of create something like a online school in a sense, but it would be more like an online resource school. So I'm working to basically have College4U be like a umbrella of resources where you can come and have access to different courses and access to different resources, such as a step ahead tutoring services, because tutoring plays a huge part in eliminating some of those barriers too. So just working with different businesses that can help, that have similar missions to help, shed light on these different resources and help our students, help create the next leaders for the next generation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So you brought up a key factor, which is first generation college students. So I was wondering if you could talk more about that, as what is the significance of being the first in your family to go to college?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that. I really hope my family listens to this interview, because I think, well, for me personally, they thought that it was just like, oh, she went to college, that's so awesome, she's going to graduate and just be making all this money. No, doesn't work that way. When you're the first person in your family to do something, you have to figure out how to utilize your resources. And it took me some time to understand that, like, who do I talk to about, taking out loans with, or going through the financial aid process with, because no one in my family can show me. Okay, well, now I'm trying to figure out what to major in, and I'm stressed out because I don't know who to talk to about academic advising or social pressures and things like that, because they never had that experience. So it was like, who do you turn to? Who do you talk to? And so it's really important that we as a first generation college student, you know how to use your resources, you know who to talk to, who to go to, and you utilize external resources like outside of your family, because there's just things that they're not going to understand. Even to this day, like now I'm, going for a master's, and of course, if they didn't understand that process of me getting my bachelor's, they're not going to understand this. But I've learned to just use resources. So there's so many different resources like the universities and colleges provide. But I think there's like this, not only do you have to deal with family circumstances and like setting boundaries with your family because they don't know what you're going through, you also have to break down like that wall of like feeling intimidated and feeling like scared to like approach people at the schools, like to establish those connections. So for example, in my high school, they would always say like, oh, your professors they're busy and they don't, they're not going to make time for you. They kind of like made you feel kind of scared, like, oh, like my professors won't be approachable, or it's going to be like college is going to be this big, scary place. So the first thing is like breaking down that wall to say like, okay, actually it's the opposite. They want you to reach out to you. They want you to reach out to them. Your professors want to hear from you. People at your school who work in those different departments that support students, they want you to come and use those resources. And so, yeah, I had to realize that. I had to come to terms with that and understand that, if I'm not getting the support that I need to be successful for my family, you have to get it elsewhere. So that was kind of the biggest challenge for me as a first generation student. And then of course, being in that process of like, not really knowing what I needed at the time. Like I knew that I was a little overwhelmed because I didn't have support. So, but it didn't dawn on me that, okay, I'm the first one doing this, so my family can't give me the support that I wish that they could. So where else do I get it? And so I got that support from like friend groups at school, different organizations, different staff and faculty at school, people at your job. You never know who knows what. And so I really kind of like try to stress like resources when it comes to the first generation students, because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so I felt like because I went through it, it's kind of like my responsibility to show other people how to navigate that process, because it can be very tough. It can be very challenging. It can be very stressful, but there's so many resources. It's just a matter of like making them accessible.
That's a very good point that you made.
Yeah.
So one thing that kind of came to mind as you were talking is the fact that you are a first generation college student, meaning that the generations before you didn't go to college. So can you talk about that a little bit more, about maybe the importance of seeking a higher education from the older generations, like why they didn't go to college, maybe their perspective on college, like what happened before you that college, I mean, or not, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about but in general, like the fact that you are first generation, meaning the generations before you didn't. So I don't know if you can, if you don't mind talking about.
Sure. Yeah, I'm an open book.
Yeah, do you understand? I'm trying to get the words out.
I get what you're saying. I think so I would say my situation was a little unique. Most of my family is from the inner city south side of Chicago. And I can't speak for like that many generations before, but I think it was like the environment. The environment that a lot of my family grew up in, they didn't really they weren't presented with those type of opportunities. So I know like your environment can play a big role in that. And then, your household and family dynamics and all of those things too, which is, definitely a more touchy topic. But yeah, so those things definitely influence it, like your family dynamics. I think I would even say like, I keep going back to resources, because it's like financial resources, mental health resources, things like that, I think all play a part. So in my family, at least in my family, fortunately, in my immediate family, like I grew up in Minnesota, where there was more opportunities and education was so like heavily emphasized. And so, yeah, I think I was just fortunate that my mom, she decided to move from the inner city of Chicago to Minnesota, and I had more, we had more opportunities. And so my brother, he did go to college for a little bit. He didn't finish. He decided not to. He decided it wasn't for him. But I think for me, I just wanted to see a change. I wanted to make a change in my family. And really, education allows you to do that. Like education can really help you to create that change in your family and like break some of those barriers, because you get to see things from a whole different perspective. And yeah, I also realized too, like with older generations, they didn't necessarily have to go to college. They could work factory jobs and restaurants and things like that and make a decent living. But I think as times have changed a little bit, it's like in some areas we do need education, whatever that might look like. I think education is so broad. So even if it's not like going to college, you need some sort of education. Even if you're educated in construction, if you're educated in being an electrician, and you can make a living off of that, that's great. Yeah, so I think for me personally, I think with my family, it was just opportunity. I think the opportunity wasn't there, and I think environment.
Awesome. So you mentioned resources a lot. It's one of those
Yeah.
words that you kept bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear you stressing resources a lot, which makes me think there is a lack of resource sharing, access to resources. So why do you think there is a lack of resources that's motivating you to push it further?
So, oh man, that's a loaded question, because since I actually had the chance to work at a community college, I see things both ways. I feel like in some instances, it might be a lack of opportunity, lack of resources, but in other instances, it's like it's the I go back to the environment, because schools do have a lot of resources, but I think that it's a matter of like getting youth, like helping them get the motivation to use those resources. So I'll give you an example. So like at my job, I worked with students that came from like at-risk backgrounds, and the resources were there, but it was helping them get motivated enough to use the resources. So, when you're talking about education, you have to like also address like other barriers, which like I mentioned before, might be like mental health, housing, food insecurity, things like that. So you have to kind of look at things like holistically. And so I will say, like at my job, for example, they had all of those resources to help students, which was really nice. They had like housing resources, they had transportation, mental health, things like that. But it's a matter of getting the student to utilize the resources at the same time. And so I think with College4U, the reason why I wanted it to be like mobile and like on a website is because students spend so much time on their phones as is. And so it's like really, it's right there in front of you. So it's more accessible to you. You can pick up your phone and you can see, different ways to manage your mental health. You can pick up your phone and see how to become more financially literate, how to learn about credit, how to access different, if you're struggling with a class, how to access tutoring, things like that. And so it's to answer your question, it can be it's a little tough to say if it's just a lack of resources. I think in some, like I said, in some instances, it can be a lack of resources depending on the community. And in other instances, it's a matter of getting those students to get to those resources. So a lot of, when it comes to education, a lot of those issues start at home. And a lot of people just aren't ready to go to college from high school because, you know, that it's a difficult transition and, you know, it depends on where you are mentally. And so I think it depends on the person, your environment, and yeah, the motivation has to be there. So I hope that answers your question.
It did, it did.
Okay.
So, I mean, your theme is obviously college, right? So, what do you say to people who say, you know, I didn't go to college and I turned out okay? Why are you pushing college so much? What do you say to those people?
Yeah. So I, myself and a lot of people that I know, college helped us escape those generational cycles in our family, those generational curses, as they say. So I guess it depends on the person. And when we talk about, like, yeah, you hear the word college, but college for you, like that's you know, kind of the core. That's the whole purpose. Is like, yeah, I want you to go to college, get an education, but let me also show you these other different paths that you can take to get an education. So yeah, college is great, but if it works for you in a sense. So that's kind of where the for you comes from. Does college work for you? Like, make college work for you, because you got to think about college as like shopping or dating or something like that. You have to, you know, make sure that it's the right path for you in a sense. So it's like, don't go to a college that's like far away from home that costs, I don't know, $40,000 a semester. That's going to put you in so much debt. If it's, you know, that's not the college for you. That's not the path that you should take. You know, you have to shop around and figure out what works for you. If going to trade school is a better path for you, because maybe you don't want to take a bunch of general education courses. Maybe you just want to be more hands-on. You like fixing things. So you decide to pursue construction or culinary or become a nail technician. Great. That's the whole point, is helping you figure out what works for you. So I do hear that a lot. I hear people say college is a scam or college is a waste of time. I disagree with that, because would you tell that to your doctor? Would you tell that to the police officers that help you when you're going through things? Would you tell that to your physician? Or, you know, people do need degrees for some careers, and then for other careers, maybe you don't, or maybe entrepreneurship is the best route for you. So I think it's a double-edged sword when it comes to comments like that, because yeah, there are some people who do get degrees and they never even use them. So ultimately it comes back to what it is that you want to do. What is it that you want? And sometimes that can be hard to figure out, especially coming from me. Like, I changed my major like 5 times. So clearly I didn't know what I wanted to do for a while, but I don't regret going to college. I regret some of the loans I took out, but I don't regret going to college, because um, it helped me break that cycle in my family and have more opportunities after that. And once I went to college and got a degree, I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to keep doing other things to break cycles. So it all depends on how you see
That's fair. And
it.
talking about like breaking the generational cycles, and I think about how difficult even going to college and going to higher education, how difficult that was for a lot of families in the past. Like, even for, you know, people of color, that, you know, college
Yeah.
was, you couldn't even think about it. It was out of reach. And of course there was all the systematic racism, you know, in terms of people of color, and even even with Caucasian families, if you are a low income, it might have been out
Yeah,
as well. So I can see, the appeal of being a first generation student is that college was so out of reach and there were a lot of systemic barriers and even personal financial barriers that prevented you from achieving that higher education. Um,
right,
that it's, that now it's like, it's that knowledge that's, I guess, that's secret outer world knowledge that you don't, that was cut off. And
right.
now that you have this opportunity to pursue college and pursue higher education and to pursue um, the outer world knowledge, for lack of a better description. Now
Yeah, no, absolutely.
it's there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think about that too. It's like a lot of our ancestors and um, civil rights leaders and people, they fought for us to have education. So I think we don't want to belittle it. We might, change the narrative a little bit as far as saying like, yeah, you don't have to go to college per se. You don't have to go to a university, but you do need an education. Whatever that looks like for you, you need an education. Um, I think about like, was it W.E.B. Du Bois who said like, talked about the talented 10, so like the 10% of like low income communities or like Black communities, 10% go off to get an education, and it's their responsibility to use that knowledge to help the rest of the community. So I think about that. And then I think about one of my favorite quotes is Nelson Mandela. And he said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And he was saying, like, he didn't say college is the most powerful weapon. He was saying education. So, it goes beyond just like going to college. It's educating yourself so that you can get the skills to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Everyone needs education. So I totally agree with you. Um, I don't think that people should stop going to college. I think it just comes down to, what it is that you want to accomplish in life.
Absolutely. So in terms of your company, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, if I could stop doing 5 different things at once, this question would be way easier to answer. But I hope that College4U will continue to grow as far as expanding like the network. Collaboration is a big deal, a big aspect of College4U. So like partnering with different businesses and nonprofits and organizations that can bring resources and everything. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to eventually like employ people and just have it be like a go-to resource for young people as far as them trying to, figure out, navigate what they want to do in life. So help guide them, I guess, for lack of better words. Guide them to different opportunities, have access to different resources, such as the amazing Step Ahead tutoring services, because that's really important. I have a little cousin of mine who, especially right now with the pandemic, like I really hope people are seeing how valuable your business is, because with the pandemic, these students, all I hear is my teacher friends complaining about how these students barely know how to write their names. They're not teaching cursive anymore. They're struggling in math. And so you have a business that can like literally hop on Zoom with you and tutor your kids. Like, you have to take advantage of things like that. The school systems are really overwhelmed right now. Teachers are overwhelmed. And so when we're aware of resources like that, like this, like yours, then, we really have nothing to worry about. It really helps. It helps us, so I hope to see College4U grow. I hope to see more partnerships and just making it grow into a larger network.
Awesome, awesome. I hope so too.
Thank you.
You have Facebook Lives. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So I had started Facebook Lives earlier this year to showcase people who are doing things of similar missions to create change, and who have missions that kind of align with College4U's. So, I mostly interviewed entrepreneurs, because, you asked me like, college seems to be like the big push. And I think people found it a little bit confusing, like, okay, it's about college, but she's interviewing entrepreneurs. Exactly, because it's showing that, there's various different pathways that you can take. And, you can hear it from an entrepreneur, hear what their process is like, similar to what you're doing. But yeah, so I was able to interview people who are doing a lot of various different things. So I interviewed a principal, for example, who can talk about what it's like being a leader in education right now. I interviewed someone who is creating opportunities for people like re-entering society from prison, because they also have to figure out how to get an education and find work opportunities. So really just, yeah, I wanted to, showcase some great people that are doing great things in society and the community. And I hope to start that back up in January.
Okay, awesome. So, what do I want to ask? So, when did your company start?
So College4U started, I launched it officially in January of 2020, but I started like the planning process and everything in 2019. And
Go ahead, sorry.
oh yeah, no, I was going to say I can elaborate more on that. I don't know if you had another question.
No, please elaborate.
Okay, so that's kind of where the entrepreneur aspect comes in, because yeah, I always emphasize that I didn't know anything about business. And I just, started playing. It literally was an idea, and I started like drawing out the app, and I was trying to work with, different companies to get it created. And I got it created, and I was like, okay, now what do I do? And so, yeah, that was a process in itself. I know there's a lot of people who focus so much on like business plans and they plan so much, plan. Okay, I'm going to launch it this year. Oh, but I need to do this first. The best way to know what you need to do is to just take a step forward and take a leap of faith and just get it started, and you learn as you go. Entrepreneurship is definitely a spiritual process. You're going to fail, you're going to expect failure, expect trials, and you just have to, stay persistent.
Absolutely. Definitely agree there. So, do you think you accomplished your goals with your company as of today?
As of today, I would say that I did more than what I initially anticipated on doing. I think since I took a little bit of a break, just a little tiny break, to go back to school, that things have slowed down just a little bit. But I will say that if I had to give that answer, the answer to your question is yes or no, I would say yes. I would say yes, just simply because I did, excuse me, I did way more than what I set out to do. Maybe a little too much, a little too much too fast. Which again, you gotta be careful with entrepreneurship because you don't want to reach a burnout. But yeah, I would say I definitely accomplished a lot more than what I initially set out. However, there's still a lot more things that I wanna accomplish and that I have to figure out too.
Like what? Can you talk more about what you've accomplished?
Yeah, it's so hard talking about yourself because I don't want to feel like I'm boasting, but but so as far as some of the accomplishments, College4U was recognized at several conferences. Um, and so that was a really great experience, 2 first-generation student conferences. And we were also able to employ several interns and help them, have work opportunities to develop their resume and go on to pursue their career. So that was really awesome. And then being able to be more recognized at like different schools. So having, schools know that College4U is a resource for their students, and they reach out from time to time, as well as some nonprofit organizations. I'm trying to think what else. I know we did so much, especially this year. Yeah, I think those were the most important things. So like being recognized at different conferences, developing our network with different schools and nonprofits, and then having the internship opportunity.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're coming to the end a little bit here. So can you talk about why education is so important to you?
Yes. So I think education is so important to me because, and I always go back to that Nelson Mandela quote, that it's the most powerful weapon we can use to make change, because it allowed me to make change. And, I see like how I was able to break cycles in my family, and I'm still breaking cycles in my family. And my family kind of sees me as like a leader, excuse me, more than I see myself, I think. And even like the kids in my family, now they have someone to like, they feel proud because they see someone in the family that went to college, and now they feel like they can do it. And that was my whole purpose, is to show like, like we were talking about, show the next generation that they can reach their goals, and they're not limited to their environments. And so, yeah, I think education really is a powerful, like foundational tool everyone needs, and that can help you break cycles and prosper in life.
Absolutely. And what you did was you broke the generational curse that was in your family, and you decided to go to college, and now you have the younger generation looking up to you. So in a sense, you started you influenced the new generation by breaking that generational curse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't always look at it that way. Like I just try to stay humble, but yeah, I'm really thankful. When when I see like my little cousins and everything tell me how they're proud and they feel inspired and everything, and seeing them become more encouraged, then I know that, I did my job right. So that's the most important thing, is that we're using our businesses to set up the next generation, set them up for success.
Do you encourage sorry, as I hear you talking, more questions are coming.
Thinking about more questions.
So have you ever went back to, I guess, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and tell them that, y'all can also go back to college? Like it's not too late for you?
Yeah, I try to sometimes. Yeah, I'll say this. I think depending on your family, you have to like use discernment, because it can be, for one, it can be intimidating for them because if they never had that experience. And for two, like maybe they want to, but they just don't really know how to go about it. I will say that, one of my relatives did feel, older relative did feel encouraged and actually went to get a certificate in IT. And I was really proud of them for that. It took them some time, but hey, everyone's journey is different. Can't base your journey off someone else's. But yeah, I was really happy about that. So I do try my best to encourage people in my family, especially like the ones that are around my age, especially like, just to let them know, like, you can do it. You don't have to go get a degree, but guess what? You can get a 6-month certificate in IT, become an IT specialist. You can go to school for engineering, get an associate's degree. I think sometimes they just don't know. Or CDL truck drivers, they have that as an opportunity at community colleges. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I definitely try to like share the resources with everyone I come across, but they also have to have the will. I think that's important, is knowing, like, meeting people where they are. If they don't really have the will to do it or they lack motivation, you might just have to just focus on encouraging them in the time being. But yeah, I'm definitely one where I'll try to like go above and beyond to share resources, share information, anything I learn, I want to share with the next person. So yeah.
Cool. And sorry, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but can you talk about that moment where you decided that you were going to go to college and go against the grain? Can you talk about that moment and what happened?
Yeah.
And where were you in that moment in time? What happened? What made you had
Mhm.
that mental shift?
Yeah. Right after high school, actually my whole senior year, I was ready to go. I was like, I know I'm going to college. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know that I'm going. Um, it's so funny. I haven't told a lot of people about this story, but when I was like, I don't know, maybe 10, I think someone had gave me like $20, and I was like, I'm saving this for college. Like, I always wanted to go to college. And so it wasn't like any surprise that after, you know, my senior year, I made the decision to go out of state. Um, again, didn't really know what I was doing, didn't really know how I was going to pay for it, didn't really know what I was going to study, but I just knew that I wanted to go. I knew that no matter what, I wanted to, leave the nest and just create a change in my family. And sure, I stumbled and struggled along the way, but I wouldn't change it. So yeah, I just knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't, have a fully like developed plan. I just kind of like letting God lead the way in a sense.
Did you have anyone in your high school or middle school that motivated you? Any role models?
Yes, fortunately, I had two friends who were like 2 grades above me, and they actually helped me with the process. So, um, seeing them go off to college and seeing them move out of state and everything was really encouraging for me. So that's why, we're talking about role models and, you know, um, resources and everything. It's like when I'm sorry, we're talking about role models, and I was thinking about my little cousins having, like, they were able to see someone go off to college. It was the same thing for me in that moment. I saw people that I grew up with go and pursue their goals and everything. And so I was like, okay, if they can do it, then that shows me that I can do it. So it was really motivating and encouraging for me.
Awesome. Okay, so
Mhm.
okay, we are winding down. So
Yeah.
Can you tell us why you chose to sponsor Step Ahead Tutoring Services?
Of course, yes. So I touched on this a little bit, but I chose to sponsor a Step Ahead Tutoring Services because tutoring is so essential for our youth. And I can think of one specific reason why. And that is because, like, if you think about a student that's struggling with a class, and we talked about being intimidated, feeling intimidated, to ask for help, you know, knowing that there's other services out there that can help, where you can have more individualized tutoring is so essential. Not only that, but, I'm really big on STEM. So anything related to like science, technology, and all of that. And those opportunities aren't that prevalent in the community that I'm trying to serve. And so, STEM programs sometimes, like math especially, has a way of weeding out minorities. And so, once I knew that Step Ahead Tutoring Services provided all of those different tutoring services, I was like, yes, we definitely have to partner in some way. And so I wanted to incorporate that as an educational resource on College4U.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And just for you guys viewing, for the viewers, we also we partnered on a virtual trade fair last March.
Yeah.
And you can watch the recordings on our YouTube channel and also on the College4U YouTube channel. So I just wanted to make that reference. And you have a commercial. I said I was going to show it.
Aww.
I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull that up right now.
All right.
Opportunities don't always come to you in college or life. You have to work to find them. College4U Online Learning Center guides young people toward opportunities for success, focusing on trades, technology, entrepreneurship, and importantly, financial literacy. We work with various business and community partners to bring life-changing resources to you, including help navigating the college process. We truly believe in a holistic approach, from goals to planning to mentoring. Visit us online today.
All right,
Thank you for showing that.
please talk about how that came about. How that came about.
Yeah. So this is that thing we were talking about, spiritual entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship being spiritual, because I had applied for a grant back in February. And I didn't hear back, so I just assumed I didn't get it. And then as soon as I make the decision to go to school and move across the country, Comcast emails me and they're like, hey, we want to let you know that you got the grant. And so, I'm really thankful for them because they, gave me this opportunity, and they gave me, they created the commercial, and they are currently airing the commercial on different TV networks, mostly in the Chicago area, which is really awesome. So yeah, I'm really, really thankful to have had that opportunity. And the commercial is aired throughout the it'll be airing until the end of 2021. So.
Oh, congratulations. You're a grant winner. That's huge. That's something about your business, and that your goals are worthy goals. So that's saying,
thank you.
If you got a grant for it,
thank you.
Sometimes you got to toot your own horn. Work very, very hard. All right, so we have reached the end of our interview. Can you just rattle off your contact information? Where can people find you?
Sure. So you can reach out to College4U on Facebook. It's College4U, College #4, letter U, Online Learning Center on Facebook. We're on Instagram as College4U Center on Instagram. And then also, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. My name is kind of long, but I would just say start off with our Facebook and Instagram page for sure.
All right, so you're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And of course,
Yes.
to the viewers, we will provide this information in the description. Are you on Twitter, TikTok?
You know what? No, I had TikTok for like a week and then I had to delete it because it's really addicting. So I was like, I don't know how people do this. It's too much. But yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I can send you that information to post in the description. What else? That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all I use. Facebook, Instagram,
You have a
LinkedIn.
YouTube channel.
I do have, see, it's so awesome. Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. Gabby's a great promoter. Yeah, the YouTube channel is also College4U Online Learning Center.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
So Tami, thank you so much for interviewing with me today. And thank you so much for your sponsorship. Your sponsorship is allowing us to fulfill our mission to tackle the academic challenges of all students and to impact the communities in the process. So thank you so much for supporting our mission. Thank you for our sponsorship and your sponsorship. And I look forward to more collaborations with you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again. And we're signing off.
Okay. Bye.